Folks, I would introduce him as Sunny Sir G. Obviously, that is a pun and a play on words for those of you who don't quite understand. Yeah, Sunil Gavaskar, Sunny, that's his nickname, and name effectively for the longest time. Sir, because he is Sir, and because I think he should be Sir, and G for Gavaskar, but also, if we're in India, when I say Sunny Sir G, it's a mark of respect. You'd say that to somebody else, an older person, you'd say Sir G, right? So all of that one day just kind of came to mind and fitted perfectly.
Yeah, you're the only one who actually says that.
So, Sunny Sir G,
Yeah.
fabulous that you are here, first of all, and we can do this. And for you, you don't even know how lucky you are because this is an occasion. Legend, don't just say that. I don't just say that anyway. And so it's my pleasure. Thanks for doing this. Let's start, because we've got to try and pack a lot in a short space of time. Let's start with what it feels like and felt like being a hero for people. I know that that's difficult for you because, hey, and I know that's a tough question to start, but I want to know.
Well, I'm not sure. I can't really presume anything, but all I can say is that I'm very grateful to God for having given me this blessing. I finished playing cricket 1987, and I'm definitely, because of the fact that I'm on television, and so therefore more visible to the current generation. Maybe they recognize me maybe more as a commentator than as a player. But I really am blessed to be able to get this affection of the people, and that I think that is my greatest wealth. I mean, you have your family and everybody around, but nothing quite like getting the affection of the man on the street sometimes. Coming up and saying, I followed you. Guys who say, look, I grew up with you. And sometimes I look at them and I say, listen, you look maybe as old as me or maybe older than me. So, but it is a blessing, no question.
Yeah, and look, we've been sort of traveling together, working together for many years. I hope you remember this. We were in indoor, I think, and a certain gentleman, two people on a scooter. Do you remember that? two people on a scooter, come up to the bus or the car we're traveling in, and stop at the traffic lights, and then look and see you. And for me, that's just one incident. The look on the people's face, because I'm watching out the window, I'm watching everything all the time. And the reaction of the guy to go away and come back through oncoming traffic to just come and take a selfie or say hi, Sunny sir, or whatever, and off they go. And the delight that you indulge them. You indulge them all the time at the airport. It takes forever to get through the airport because you indulge them.
Because it's a blessing. As I keep saying, it's a blessing after, so many years after I finished playing cricket. If they want to take a picture, I mean, it doesn't really, it's a matter of a couple of seconds. There are occasions, of course, when I'm rushing to catch a flight.
Yeah.
And, then that's a little bit difficult. Or maybe, going for doing commentary or something like that. It's a little bit tough. But I think maybe 90-95% of the time I do, I'm able to take a photograph, and which gives me great pleasure as well. That they have asked me, like I said, after so many years of having left the game, stop playing the game. That is really a blessing.
I think stop playing the game is more apt rather than lift the game, because here you are. Tell me something. Tell me about change. Tell me about your observance of it in this, our great game, as sort of from start where you are aspiring to be in the Indian side and then achieve goals and surpass by a long way, and then out of the game from a playing perspective and watch it as it goes. Tell me what's that's been like, and if you can put some markers to say, you know, what you've noted, as it were.
It's been a fascinating journey. I mean, fascinating if you look at me starting as a schoolboy, with just wanting to play the game of cricket. At that stage, you know, your ambitions are, you know, just to be able to enjoy the game. If you're batting, and I did batting most of the time, to be able to bat as long as you could.
Yeah.
So that was it. That's how the school cricket, etc., started. Then maybe when you started to get a few runs, then the ambitions, you know, started to go up. And I've always honestly had next step ambitions.
Right.
I haven't looked to, you know, climb the ladder straight away. I've been wanting to go step by step. And that's what's happened with, you know, almost throughout my career, excepting when I was picked to play for India. There was an intermittent step which I missed. I wasn't selected for that. We used to have a zonal tournament called the Durip Trophy. So just to, if I might indulge, I played for my school. Then I played for Bombay schools. Then I played for West Zone schools because West Zone school. Then I played for All India schools. So you do well in A, B, C, D, you get the confidence, you are ready for the next level.
Right.
Similarly, university was the same thing. My college, my Mumbai University, then West Zone University, All India University. So, but when it came to Test cricket, international cricket, I played for Bombay. I didn't play for West Zone. I wasn't selected.
Right.
I wasn't selected. And later on, you know, the selection committee chairman told me that we had kept an eye on you. We knew what you were capable of. We wanted to try two other people. And so they tried, you know, two other openers. But who knows, both those openers that scored runs, I might not have even been picked for India. But it was just one of those things, you know.
Yeah.
So I missed that step. So when I was about to play for India, I was thinking, I mean, is that going to cost me? Because I missed that step. Is this India step going to be just a little too high for me? But with God's grace, you know, things worked out well.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the fascination after that has been to see how the game has evolved, how the game has changed. I mean, there's so much emphasis on fitness. It was there. I'm not saying we were not fit. But now, you know, there's a whole different athleticism which was there with a few in our time. The game is far more entertaining. I enjoy watching all the games, the T20, the shots that you see, you know, reverse sweep, this, the whatever different shots, the bowling, you know, back of the hand, knuckleball, everything. Man, I mean, it is just, so, I mean, the game has become so much better because of all the innovation. The dimensions have just grown.
What keeps you enthused? I mean, you are, gee, in fact, before that, I should say, what's the secret to longevity?
A hair color. No, I think I'm lucky I'm not a foodie. So that's helped me a great deal. I mean, I eat to survive. So I barely, maybe 6-7 days in a year, I'll go berserk. I'll eat like as if I've come out of a famine. So I've therefore been able to keep a pretty much reasonable control over my weight and and hair color.
And hair color. And so what, is it just the game full stop you're enthusiastic about? And, you know, many people would ask me, for instance, who's been here but a second in compared to you, right? Watching games and working on them, and say, how can you go from game to game to game? And I absolutely love it. Like, day by day, you turn up, you watch a game, and there's always something you take away that you're happy about. Is it just the same for you?
Absolutely, because, you know, I mean, very early in my career, I was told that there's no such thing as a master in this game. If you're wanting to be a student, you will always enjoy the game. Every day there will be something new that you will learn. And that happens in commentary as well. It's not just on the field of play. Commentary, sometimes you learn a word or two. Sometimes you learn how to maybe put it across, you know, in a much better way. Everything that you learn, and that's the thing. For me to see the game, you know, evolve the way it has over the years, from being a real amateur thing to a professional game, and you know, the entertainment that it provides has been just fascinating. To be able to see all the newer stars of the game coming through, see how they cope with the tensions and the pressures. Look, when we played, we had the pressure of the crowd. We had maybe 80,000 people at at the Eden Gardens and 50, 60,000 at other centers in India, and we didn't have the same maybe pressure as the current guys have. Current guys are being watched by millions on television. There could be less number of people maybe in the ground. Instead of 90,000, you probably have 50,000. But that's a lot of people. But more importantly, you have maybe 50 to 100 million watching you. And with the cameras getting so close to you, seeing all your expression, I think the pressure is far more on the current guys than, different pressures, mind you. Different pressures, different expectations. But I mean, that's all been fascinating.
How hard is it to carry legend status in India?
It's not hard because, like I said, it is just a blessing. I mean, I know I'm repeating myself, but
yeah, that's okay.
But for somebody at the airport lounge, for example, somebody just to come up and say hello, hi, and I mean, how many times do you go up to somebody you might not know and say hello? Here is somebody coming up who I have not met before and saying hello. And that just is, you get to know another person. And sometimes you might gel, sometimes you might not, but whatever. I think it is, it's a blessing. Absolutely fantastic. You go to hotels, you go to restaurants, they welcome you with a smile. They probably do so many others as well. But it just feels that they make you feel special, and that is terrific.
Firsts, 10,000. 10,000. Well, I'll be happy with 10.
You got 10. Never mind that story about Trinidad. Mbangwa, you can't not.
I was happy to just be out there trying to do it, okay? But 10,000 test match runs. And I'm talking about the fact that it hadn't been done, right? And so, I mean, to quote great men, I think it's Mandela who said it's impossible until it's done, right? And you, for many who since have, what are they? There must be, 11 now who are past you?
Yeah, plenty, yeah.
Yeah, about that. I think it's about 11. I'll correct myself when I can. But what did you think of that, number one? And at what point, if ever, did it become a target?
It became a target just maybe a test or two before, when you were in 9,900 range. But it was never a target. I would have been very happy having scored 1,000 runs in Test cricket. I would have been very happy not having made a fool of myself. That was my intention when I started. I wanted to play for India successfully. I didn't want to just play for India. I just didn't want the India cap.
Right.
I wanted to do something for my team, for my country, and that was how I set out to play. And then, of course, when things started to go your way, you started to get a few more runs. But 10,000 was never at the back of your mind. I mean, the highest score at that stage was 8,000 runs. You're talking about 2,500 runs. I mean, 2,000 runs more. So, never thought about that.
It just illustrates the feat, actually. And so I remember, like, 10,000 for the first time, whatever, and first man there, sort of reading all of it. And I think when you're younger, and certainly for me, when you're younger, things are matter of fact. You don't understand the magnitude of stuff. So, for instance, if I said to many who are watching, a man goes to the moon for the first time, right? Like there isn't a grasp of how big that is because you probably don't know enough, right? Like you don't know enough about what it takes and what people are trying to do, but to have set foot on a cricket field with friends and teammates and whatever, and played in test matches, and then and that's many people have done that, and then you get these firsts. So first to 500 wickets. We've just had Jimmy Anderson as a fast bowler, was 704, whatever he's finished on, retiring and playing forever. When Murali got 800, like stuff like that. That you suddenly think, well, hold on. Like, to 100 and then kind of multiply and multiply and multiply.
Yeah.
And, Sonny, you were an opener.
Huh.
Now, who was it? I think it might be Graham Smith, or it might be someone older, actually, in the Super Sport commentary box. You say, opening, toughest job in the world, right? And then you'd have middle order batters who'd come in and say, nah, always moaning these top order batters. But I think it is accepted by everyone within cricket that job is the toughest job ever. And yet here we are talking about 34 test centuries. We're talking about 10,000 and getting there first. I want to get into your brain and understand the strength of character and mind to do things like that.
Look, like I said, it wasn't a target. It was the only ambition was to do well for India in every time that I got to bat. I failed a number of times. That's what the sport is all about. You fail a lot more than you succeed. I mean, like for example, I've got 214 innings, and out of 214 innings, I've got 3,400s and 45. So the other innings, I haven't done well. As a batter, you have to put a minimum price of 100 if you want to be reckoned as one of the top players in the world. Then you want to put a minimum price of 100. So that was always the intention, to try and get 100 as much as possible. And so in that process, obviously the runs are going to pile up, and the runs are going to be added. I mean, come on, I'll tell you a simple thing of today. I try and do, say, 10,000 steps a day. But 10,000 steps is not 10,000 steps there. I might just walk across here to the table to have a glass of water. Those 4 steps also will be counted in that 10,000. Yeah. So that is what happens. So, that's how the 10,000 came about, because there were lots of, runs scored in single digits, lots of runs scored in double digits as well. Yes. More runs than, the hundreds and the half centuries.
I suppose that's a lesson in sort of staying the course and just there it is, and I am going no matter what, no matter how many bouncers. I want to go to Trinidad now, actually. So I want you to tell it. You're the king of Trinidad, and many who are out there would have no idea. But it was a torrid place to go for many because it was in their pomp. The West Indies just bounced everybody and just skittled everybody out. And, careers would end in the West Indies. Yeah. And yet, wherever you might read, and when you go to the Caribbean itself, when you go to Trinidad, they'll tell you, Gavaskar, man, because so many remember. Yeah. Tell us, please tell them, tell me again, how and why did the stars just align? How prepared were you? What happened?
Stars aligned, because I was batting on 12 in my debut innings, and I drove at a ball around the off stump, the outswing. It took a thick outside edge, went to Garfield Sobers, the greatest of them all, with due respect to everybody else, who's an all-rounder. And he dropped an absolute sitter. He's got about 250 catches, but he dropped that catch. It allowed me to go on to get a half century and keep my place in the Indian team. Those days, you got barely a test or two to play. If you didn't do well in those 2 matches, you were out and most likely forgotten forever. So to be able to get that opportunity was, stars aligning. The next game, I was batting on 4. I slashed hard at a ball, and this one went like a rocket. Earlier one, the previous test was a simple catch. This one went like a rocket, hit Garfield Sobers in the chest. By the time he recovered, ball was down. I got my first test century. And I played for India with those 2, lives, second lives. I managed to play for India for another 16, 17 years. So the stars definitely aligned. You need a lot of luck. Bit of luck, lot of luck, depends. But you need that little element of, grace from above to be able to play for that long.
Yeah, come on, you're leaving the whole story out. There's the rest of the story of all the runs in Trinidad, and kind of what you came up against, how you prepared for it, and why in the end you ended up succeeding.
Well, I think it used to be a challenge to play against the West Indies. a challenge which was not always something that you look forward to, because it meant that you were probably just a little bit sleepless the previous evening, previous night, thinking of what's going on.
Counter bowlers. Ghana?
Marshall, Roberts, Holding, Ghana. These were the guys. And then before that, it was, Sobers, Garfield Sobers, and Van Older and company.
Yeah.
It was just
All fast.
all fast.
Oh, wow. And the hundreds, I mean, I think about it and I go, most teams are sort of on the back foot. And you think of hundreds where teams are dominating. You think of hundreds where a guy is just sort of hanging in there, and the rest of the team's falling apart. Go through it for us in sort of trying to survive a day and bat a day and a half and get to 100 against a relentless fast bowling attack like that.
I think to a great extent, the fact that I'm vertically challenged meant that even at the school level or at the club level, you play club cricket, guys were trying to bounce me. Guys were trying to sort of bounce me, scare me. And therefore, you got into the position to look to score off that, or maybe leave the ball which you couldn't score off. And so as you went up the ladder, the bowling became that much better, a lot more accurate, lot less scoreable deliveries, but you kept getting used to that. So your reflexes also started to get just that little bit better with all that was happening. And that stood me in good stead when I went to the West Indies, or when I opened the batting against anybody. Because I always, excepting for one series where I struggled, I always looked upon the bouncer as a scoring opportunity. And if you look at it as a scoring opportunity, Pommie, I think there is virtually 0% chance of you ever being hit by that ball. You might, because you'll get into position, because if you're looking at as a scoring opportunity, you're watching the ball every single moment, every single second. So you're getting into position, the ball's not there, you'll drop your wrist, but you'll get out of the way. It's only when you don't look upon it as a scoring opportunity, you tuck your chin in your shoulder, helmets or whatever it is, take your eye off the ball because your eyes have not gone there. And that's how you get into trouble. But it didn't happen to me for the simple reason that I was always looking, not the ram shot, though I did play the ram shot occasionally, but I'll either hook it or I'll get out of the way. So that was probably the reason why, the short ball didn't bother me. Also, don't forget, I'm, with my height, a lot of the short balls went over my head.
I absolutely love it. Short ball didn't bother me. Did you ever get hit on the head?
Yeah, once.
Who?
Once Malcolm Marshall bowling around the wicket, he bounced one, and I got into position to defend it. And as your training tells you that, if it is coming above, then you try and drop your wrist so that you don't have the ball bounce off your glove up there. So I dropped my wrists, but forgot to take my head out of the way.
Oops.
But luckily I didn't turn my head, so I got hit here, and there was a little bit of a cut here, and
concussion.
No, there was no concussion. The 12th man came with some ice and all that, and I told him to get lost.
Yeah, no helmet on.
No
Just fix your cap and away we go. My goodness, this is what I was talking about the game changing over time, protective equipment and all of that. Fabulous to sort of know about. Your greatest adversary, if you were to think about not just the West Indies, and was there anyone you had trouble with?
The greatest adversary would have to be the West Indies, clearly, because they were the best team in the world that time. I didn't score too many runs in England. I got a couple of hundreds, but didn't score too many runs because those that.
Hold on. I got a couple of hundreds, but I didn't score too many runs. Okay, okay, carry on.
Those medium-paced bowlers, those nagging thing was.
I know all about those.
It really tested my patience. I thought I had a lot of patience, but I just couldn't. I would try and do something different. I'd try and hit them harder instead of looking to time the ball. So yeah, England in England was not always easy. Yeah.
So yeah, tough one for you. There's another story I want to. 236 CO. I need you to tell the story because I'll mess it up because I'll keep laughing because what I remember of it.
Yeah.
Come on.
So what had happened was at the start of that series, Malcolm Marshall this was in India, and Malcolm Marshall had bowled a bouncer and it hit the shoulder of my bat, and the bat went flying out of my grip. Now, just to get, if I might just get back a little bit. The previous tour to the West Indies in 1976, what had happened was, when they were bowling 4-5 bounces and over in the Kingston Test. The gloves in those days, more than the helmet, I think the gloves were pretty ordinary. So the gloves, the ball smashing your gloves all the time. There was no strength left in the fingers. They were very numb. Luckily, they were not broken, but they were numb. So I was holding the bat very gingerly when I was batting. And every time the ball came up, because I did not want to give any resistance, I was holding the bat literally, with the tips of my fingers, automatic reflex thing.
Yeah.
The ball was hitting that up there, and ball was dropping straight down because there was no resistance. So the ball was not even lobbing like this, it was just going flat down. And even then, the bat was spinning out of my hand, but I was able to, control it like this, pick the bat up because there was no grip on the handle, so the bat would go. In this instance, a few years later, the ball didn't hit my gloves. The ball hit the shoulder, and I had again, and then it became a reflex action.
Right.
Every time anybody bowled a bouncer, if I was not looking to play the hook shot, I was looking to play it with just the tips of the fingers. It just became a reflex defense thing mechanism against the bouncer. The ball hit the shoulder, and that's how I lost the grip of the bat. But there were lots of comments about all these things. Oh, he's lost it. He can't play now. This, that, and the other. So, and of course, in the West Indies, that picture became famous, and there were a lot of my well-wishers in the West Indies who were being teased by some others. So there was this one gentleman called Alvin Thompson. His first original name was Ram Harak Ram Maharaj. He changed it. He was adopted, so I think he changed his name to Alvin Thompson. And he used to be a big sort of, well-wisher of mine. He would always, be arguing and fighting against, local. He was a West Indian as well, Jamaican, but against the local, that about my batting ability. So when I got in that test, in that series, I got 100, and then when it came to the last test, I got 236. And so when the news came through on the streets of Kingston, Jamaica, he had a car, and that's what he told me. He would stop the car and just roll the window down.
Randomly,
with anybody, and just shout across to, on this side of the street or that side of the street, 236 CO. So I asked him later on, what does CO mean? The 236 can't out. Can't out he.
Yeah, you can't out he. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's a brilliant story. And I guess many in India. How many? I suppose if you have any sense of how much you are loaded elsewhere, would they know? Your followers, the followers of cricket in India, would they be aware of, for instance, that Trinidad is called your second home because of your feats on the field?
Yes, I mean, a lot of people would probably know, because I've said that on television quite a number of times, that I consider that as like my second home. Like, look, it gave me a career in cricket. Trinidad is where I made my debut. That was the place where India won a test match against the West Indies for the first time. I had the good fortune to hit the winning runs. Then when we came back again, a couple of years down the road, a few years down the road, we scored the highest number of runs in the fourth innings to win a match, 406. I'd got 100 in that game as well. So in Trinidad, so Trinidad became like a place where you felt so much more comfortable. I've got loads of friends there in Trinidad as well. So every time I go to Trinidad, it's almost like, coming home. So it definitely is my second home.
Tell me about the service to India. I want you to talk about captaining India. And we're talking cricket, and I suppose when I think back, I think, hockey and other sport in India, but nothing in my mind here. And I might have blind spots here because I play cricket and work on cricket, and so that's what I see, and that's how I sort of interact with India itself. But you, as captain of the Indian team, test team, one day team, whatever you want, just Indian cricket team, and what that would mean to you, and what it still means, perhaps if you are able to interpret what it looks like to a current captain, like a Rohit Sharma, who's the captain now.
It's a huge responsibility because you realize that, the decisions that you make on the field while you're fielding mainly, and maybe off the field if you're batting and, changing a number here and there, sending somebody above, sending somebody down. Those are the decisions that's going to, make the day for, hundreds and thousands of Indians. You do well, all those people are going to be, elevated. They will, in fact, their productivity in whatever job that they're doing will probably increase. That's the way I used to look at it. That you do well, everybody else is in such a happy frame of mind, those who follow the game. And as you know, there are loads of followers in India. They are going to be working at a completely different level. On the other hand, you do badly as a team, and then they are also down, and so your productivity is going to fall down. Maybe I'm oversimplifying, or maybe I'm just imagining things, but that's the way I thought. And therefore, the responsibility of captaining the team was something I welcomed. I realized the challenge because we had players from different parts of India. One of the first things that I said was there's just going to be two languages in the change room. One is going to be English, which is, and Hindi. Nobody is going to talk to each other in their language in the change room. You could just be saying, hi, good morning, what did you have for dinner? But in your language, it shouldn't be that, somebody misunderstands in the change room, because we've got so many different languages as well. So those were the kind of things that I tried to bring in, trying to make the guys understand the importance of playing for India, the responsibility that came with it. Yes, it was a sport, but at the same time, taking into account the following that the sport as in India, there was a responsibility, there was an added responsibility to give it your everything. You would lose, that's part of the game, but you wanted to lose with a fight, not just lose, not just capitulate.
The camaraderie, I'm interested in that, and I suppose two things I want to talk about here, or want you to talk about, is climbing a mountain and being right at the top. So 83 World Cup, and your mates who still are your mates right now, you guys achieved some feat, and you celebrate, I think, every year. What's it, 41 years now, isn't it?
41 years, yeah.
41 years. And cricket as a sport that binds, that that makes relationships.
Well, again, very fortunate to be part of this group, because this really was an extraordinary group, if I might say so. But what they achieved, not many people had given us a hope in hell of ever getting into the semi-finals, leave aside winning the final. So to be able to do that was something really special. To be able to be part of that team is again, hard to put in words. We have a group which me of all people, with me being technologically challenged, forming a WhatsApp group.
Right.
So we are pretty much in touch every day. Every day there's something or the other on the group. Somebody's sending something or the other. So it's actually good because we're all in touch. That means that 83 group is in touch every single day, every single morning. There's something that comes through, and it's just a incredible feeling because a lot of time there's a lot of banter that goes on. Occasionally, I think just now we were a little bit concerned about our mate who wasn't part of that team, Anshuman Gaikwad, who's got a health crisis. So we were just a little bit up and down, upset with what was happening. But fortunately, everything has been sorted, and hopefully, with God's grace, Anshu will be back on his feet soon. So. So it's we meet every so often, not every year.
Yeah.
Special occasions, 40th year, 30th year, 25th year. We've met. We've had. Get together. We try and celebrate in our own way. This time around, 41st year, we were in Guyana, and for the T20 World Cup.
Yes.
And we were fortunate that Rishabh Pant, Mohammad Siraj, the Indian team was also staying in the same hotel. Where the commentators were. And so Ravi Shastri was there, Raj Obedi was the president of BCCI, myself, we just had a little bit of a cake. And we told them, Rishabh and Mohammad Siraj, you got to win this cup. Hopefully they got a bit inspired, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, India did win the World Cup, which again was an absolutely, unbelievable, happy moment.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, you kind of showed the way, as would be the case. Those before you show the way to those who are current. If I said, as we close off, Sunny Sergi, if I said give advice to current and aspiring cricketers for India, for the world, whatever countries they might be in, what is it that you would say to them?
I would say basically to enjoy the sport, because it's still a sport. If you enjoy the sport, there is going to be enjoy being on the field. There's going to be more chance of you being successful, and give it everything when you're playing for your country. Any team that you play for, not necessarily for your country, but any team that you play for, give it everything, so that at the end of the day, when you put your head on the pillow, it's with the knowledge that you tried your best, and sometimes the opponent is a little bit better. And you might not have succeeded. Just maybe do that, so that, and also maybe then learn from whatever you've done that day which has not helped you to win, and try and avoid the mistakes that you made. In sport, you keep on making sometimes the same mistakes. That's just part of the game. But basically, just believe in yourself and enjoy the sport. That's what I'll say.
There are two questions I always finish with when I speak with people. The first one is there a passion of yours that you have that nobody would know about, or that you expect many who kind of just see you as cricketer and former cricketer and commentator wouldn't know about?
Passion? Oh, no.
No?
Not really, no.
Okay. And there is one more thing. I've forgotten it now, because I was sort of waiting for you to talk about that. I've got to think.
I mean, at my age, there's you take each day as it comes. You want to basically, look good, dress good. Those are the things that you have, but that's not a passion.
No. Genuinely, if there's nothing, there's nothing.
No.
Here's the final question, and it's about current day cricket. If there was anything you could change in the game today, what would it be?
If there's anything that I would change in the game, it's difficult. I haven't really given it a thought, but the first thing that strikes you is that maybe there is the rhythm of the game sometimes gets interrupted quite a bit with the guys coming onto the field regularly, the reserve players coming onto the field every 2 overs. You don't want that. I know you could say that, look, no time is wasted, they're doing it in between overs. But that's not a great sight. That's not a great sight. It doesn't happen in any sport. It doesn't happen in any sport where you have the reserve players on the field every second over, I think if that can be avoided, just let the players on the field be there. You want to change your cap to a helmet to a cap, whatever it is, you want to change your gloves. All those things one totally understands, but I think that somehow it doesn't gel with me, that people are running onto the field every second over.
Okay, I could go on. I could ask about other stuff, but Um, I'm grateful for the time. I'm grateful for the chat. I'm sure everybody out there is happy with hearing even just a snippet. Maybe someday in the future we'll have another chat about something else. But it's been an absolute pleasure and honor. Thanks, Sunny
Thank
Suji.
you. Thank you.
And I hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe and follow and enjoy this. You'll watch it over and over. I'm sure that you will. Bye for now.